Legends, I think it's not good, but not bad. It's kind of good, but if you had to choose between watching this or a movie like The Great Discovery, I'm pretty sure you pick another movie. It's not that great, but it's not that good. Let me explain. The story is kind of hard to explain, but I'm gonna try my best. They're building an airport on Sodor, but it's a really important airport. But the Steamies and Diesels are arguing about who's better. The Diesels call the Steamies Stinky Steamies. The Diesels call the Steamies call the Diesels Dirty Diesels. Then, if that's not worse, Timasheds gets demolished for some random reason. I mean, it's never explained why. And Thomas has to sleep with Emily, who for some reason, despite them being good friends at the end of Emily's first episode, doesn't like him doesn't like him in her shed for some reason. Yeah, despite the movie being really long, that is basically the whole story. In fact, the story wasn't even a story. It was just a really big learning segment. Every single thing had to have something that taught us some sort of lesson. Anyways, what do I think of the story? Well, first of all, the airport being built makes no sense. I mean, was this before or was this when they was this when season 5 had turned into what we what the show what the Marvel series had turned in? Because if it was, then I think was the airport already had the. I think we saw Jeremy even before this movie came out. If we did, that makes no sense at all. We've seen this airport before. Also, the Steamings and Diesels fighting makes that even even as a kid, I knew they were acting like total children. I mean, the Stevies and Diesels are arguing. They are straight up demolishing each other, basically bringing the railway down to its knees, and for what? For those of you who didn't hear me, let me say that again. The Diesels and Steamies are fighting while there needs to be an airport built. They are demolishing each other, bringing the railway down to its knees, and it's never explained why. Seriously, all this is happening, and it's never explained. And I have to talk about what people really hate about this movie. Diesel 10. What can I say about Diesel 10 in this movie? Though he kind of has his old personality, it goes down when he agrees to help. I mean, Diesel 10 straight up wanted to scrap every steam engine on the planet, or the island of Sodor. He fell off a bridge because of Thomas, and agrees to help him? And the reason they even go to Diesel 10 in the first place is because Harvey's on the other side of the island. First of all, if they're building an airport, Harvey would obviously be there, So would Rocky. If Rocky wasn't introduced at this time, I don't understand, but Harvey? Harvey should be here. Not to mention, since most of the stuff are coming from the railway, they of course need him. And the cameo from Derek. When I saw Derek in the movie, the first time I saw the movie, I was like, who is that guy? I didn't grow up while season 4 was being produced. I grew up when the Sharon Miller era was hatching out of its early shell. So I was like, what the heck is that guy? Then I realized who he was, and then I learned who he was, and I was like, why wasn't he in the movie? Along with Daisy. If you have their models, at least put them in the background or something. That's what I do. If I had models that, like, if I remade this movie, Derek and Daisy would at least be in the background. Also, I like how Diesel is kind of the boss and Ari and Bert are kind of the henchmen. That is as close as we're gonna get to Diesel being the main villain and Diesel and Ari and Bert being the henchmen. Though Diesel isn't the villain in this, in fact, I think this is the only Thomas and Friends special. In fact, if you include the Great Discovery and this movie, the Great Discovery and this movie are the only movies that don't have a villain in them. Well, by Thomas standards, there are many movies where there's a villain, and in every Thomas film, aside from this movie, The Great Discovery, and Soldier's Legend of the and no, not Soldier's Legend of the Lost Treasure. The Great Discovery and Calling All Engines, the only movies that don't have the only Thomas movies that don't have villains in them. Wow. Anyways, it ain't. I mean, the ending. The good God, the ending. I mean, I had to talk about before the ending. The Steamies and Diesels are finally working together, and what do we get? They start insulting each other again. Well, not they get like mad at Thomas because he makes the water tower apparently fall down. Why would you go through all that and Diesels and Steamies finally work together and you give us that? Ugh. Sorry for all this. I'm so confused and so angry. I'm starting to foam at the mouth a little bit. But anyways, wait, is that even possible? I don't know. But anyways, the actual ending, is just lazy. Well, the scene with the airport, the ending scene with the airport is lazy because it just ends with, finally, the Steamies and Diesels can now do their favorite job. If that was true, they wouldn't need the Fat Controller anymore. And the thing people hate most about this movie, the learning segments. The whole movie is basically a learning segment, except the learning part where Thomas tries to find Mavis. Wait, yes, that is. We know Mavis is Horn. We we should. I mean, why would Mavis even go to the docks? I mean, the scene where Mavis goes to the docks to tell Ari and Bert. No, not Ari and Bert. The scene where Mavis goes to tell Diesel about the meeting is the only scene in the entire franchise we see Mavis at the docks. Never again. What the heck? And the fact we see, though there are some good stuff. You just kind of see a new member join the Steam team, and it is kind of sad, and it is kind of cute. We see Emily missing Thomas. Like she's like, I'm never gonna see him again, even though she does. Also, it was kind of good to see the old models again. It was good to see Lady again, even though she only says one line and that's it. And Rusty's old scale model, which was used from season 5 to season 4. It was really good to see his old scale model again. If they use Rusty's large scale model, then I think he would be the same size as Lady. Even though the scene with it is kind of pointless. It was kind of good to see Derek and Daisy again, but even though they didn't even say a word. And the fact Toby was put in all the marketing, but didn't have a single line. In fact, the scene where Toby says he would like to share his city with the other engines, I think that's the only scene where he's even seen in the special. Well, I guess it makes... Well, they could have put Edward or Henry there. But if you got the DVD disc like I did, then that spot would probably be Diesel or someone. Well, since the movie doesn't have anything else other than what I just said, I'm gonna end the video here. I hope you enjoyed, and see you in the next video.